Hello everyone, it is the Afro Avenger here with another video. As you can tell, I'm not in my room, I'm actually at a hotel, I'm out of town, but I did want to make a video, and it's very late, so you can kind of probably see the bags under my eyes, but anyways, a while back I made a video called Artists I've been checking out or something like that, and I kind of discontinued that, but this is kind of like a continuation of that series. This is albums I've listened to this week, and I'm going to kind of show off some of the stuff that I've been listening to over the past week. I don't know if I'm going to do this every single week. I don't know if we'll get a chance to do this every single week, and I might not get to listen to enough albums worth making a video for. So yeah, but I just wanted to show off some of the stuff that I've been listening to on my own time and stuff like that. So yeah, without further ado, we're gonna get this started. So the first album I have to talk about that I listened to in the past week is School of Seven Bells. I believe it's their self-titled album. This album I didn't enjoy a whole lot, but it actually was a pretty solid record. It was released this year, so it's very recent, but it's also the final album the band is putting out because their founder recently passed away after battling cancer, so that's rather unfortunate. It's kind of a mixture of indie pop and electronica, some tinges of dream pop and hints of shoegaze. The chords are very detailed and deep, and the rhythms and beats are very, very well done. Maybe I should give it another listen and see if I enjoyed any more than I did on the first listen. I have to admit, I actually was a little distracted while listening to it, so that could contribute to it. But nothing specifically caught my attention with it, but still a very, very solid record. The next album is Up, Up, and Away by The Fifth Dimension. This and the next two albums all had a very similar premise. All three of them are sunshine pop records. Little known fact about me, I love sunshine pop. It's a very awesome, joyful subgenre of psychedelic pop that always gives me positive vibes. Anyways, this album was absolutely fun to listen to. It's from 1967 and blended sunshine pop with other popular genres like funk, soul, and R&B. Next album is Playback by Apple Tree Theater. Now, as I already mentioned, this album is indeed a sunshine pop album, but it was extremely unique from all the sunshine pop albums I've listened to. It's highly experimental and was actually doing things that a lot of bands and such weren't doing at the time. This album is the only release from the Apple Tree Theater, and this is also a 1967 release. One thing in this album that certainly stood out to me was the fact that it was doing skits either before, during, or after tracks, something that became somewhat of a staple in later hip-hop records. The music is fantastic and much trippier than any of the other two sunshine pop albums I listened to this week. Next album is Rotary Connection's self-titled album. This is the debut album of the band Rotary Connection. It was released, you guessed it, 1967. Much like Up, Up, and Away, it blends sunshine pop with funk, soul, and R&B, so in that manner both are quite similar. Even still, I really enjoyed each, especially this one. This one was actually probably a bit heavier and more psychedelic than Up, Up, and Away, giving it a bit of an edge over the former, but Up, Up, and Away had a lot more happier vibes. Next album is Trouble by Whitesnake. I wanted to listen to something a little outside of my field of expertise. I'm not super familiar with hair bands like Whitesnake, but I certainly wanted to give them a try. This album was actually really, really awesome. A great blend of hard rock, early glam rock, and a heavy dosage of blues rock. This 1978 album really does make me want to listen to more Whitesnake and just more 70s hair bands in general. I loved how heavy it was without being really bland or super gnashy with the guitars. Next is the Velvet Underground's self-titled album. I recently showed off this album in my Albums I Got Recently episode, but I mentioned that I hadn't gotten to listen to it yet. Well, I did, and truly, this album was quite an experience. It was an absolute shift from the Velvet Underground and Nico, even though this album is their third, and that album is their first, but these are the only two Velvet Underground albums I've listened to so far. Anyways, this was released in 1968, and it was very moody, very emotional, much more straight rock than previous forays into the avant-garde like on their first album. Needless to say, I really enjoyed this album, and it just goes to show that Lou Reed was one of the greatest of all time. Next is Remain in Light by Talking Heads. I've heard this album was really great and one of the best new wave albums of all time, so I gave it a listen, and hey, it was pretty awesome. Definitely one of the best new wave albums I've heard, and I'm still actively listening to albums within that genre. This is from 1980, and it's an awesome blend of new wave, a little alternative rock, post-punk, and even some experimental rock. Great record, really enjoyed it. Next album is Strut by Lenny Kravitz. I've actually had this album in my collection for quite a while, but it was only until now that I've actually gotten to listen to it. It's quite a record, actually. I know Lenny Kravitz has been around for a while, and he's pretty popular, but this is the first Lenny Kravitz album I've listened to, and it was only released in 2014. It's a great mixture of blues rock, new wave, glam rock, and even a little psychedelia. It would be like if you took Prince, the Rolling Stones, Depeche Mode, and Aerosmith, put them into a blender, and you get a nice musical smoothie. The lyrics really weren't anything to write home about, very simplistic in terms of phrasing and lyric choice, and the choruses dominated many of the songs, but the music itself more than makes up for it. The final album I listened to is Sign of the Times by Prince. Finally, we have what is often regarded as Prince's best album, and it's really hard to argue otherwise. I mean, Prince blends all these different styles of music into one cohesive project over 2 discs, and it doesn't even feel super long, even though it's nearly 80 minutes in length. It's very sensual, very narrative-driven, and this album, I think, more than most of Prince's albums, really shows off how well Prince can tell a story within his songs. You've got R&B, funk, soul, psychedelic pop, electronica, hard rock, just a really great blend of music that makes for an incredible, diverse, enjoyable album by the late, great Prince. Well, that does it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, also subscribe if you want to see more. And if there's maybe an album or something that you think I should listen to over the week, maybe leave a comment down below or check out my Facebook or my Twitter. The links are in the description. Stay tuned for more. Hopefully I'll be listening to a lot more stuff in the coming weeks, in the coming days, whatever. But anyways, thank you all again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. So long.